I was sworn in the Navy the first time in Little Rock, Arkansas, in July 1956. When I first enlisted in Memphis, Tennessee, I was inducted in the U.S. Navy. At that time, all the South was segregated. And during the enlistment ceremony, all blacks could not eat in the restaurant because it was segregated, and we had to eat in the back of the restaurant.
Dred Scott was a slave who sought his freedom through the American legal system. The 1857 decision by the United States Supreme Court in the Dred Scott case denied his plea, determining that no Negro was or could ever be a citizen. The illusion of justice of Dred Scott and case decision was that the court did not recognize Scott as a citizen and was still a slave, even though he lived in a state that had freed slaves. Plessy v. Ferguson, an important court decision made in 1898. The court ruled on the concept of separate but equal and set back civil rights in the United States for decades to come. The illusion of justice of Plessy v. Ferguson is that Plessy was protected by the 14th Amendment in the Constitution, but the case was later overturned with Brown v. Board and eventually created the Civil Rights era.
The eye of the mountain below. Keep careful watch of my brother's souls, and should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over during sun.
In 1965, activists organized a march for voting rights from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, the state capital. On March 7th, 600 people assembled at a downtown church, knelt briefly in prayer, and began walking silently, two by two, through the city streets. The illusion of justice of Bloody Sunday was that the First Amendment should have protected the peaceful protesters, but the officers stayed aggressive and injured many of the unarmed protesters.
We should die tonight, we should all die together. Raise a glass of wine for the last time, cooling out fire.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964, which ended segregation in public places and banned employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, is considered one of the crowning legislative achievements of the civil rights movement. The illusion of justice for discrimination in the workplace is that Civil Rights Act of 1964 should have prohibited the aspect of white privilege and racial profiling. Just because it is illegal doesn't mean that people won't do it. The power of illusion is a great commodity, and although it is an advantage in some cases, it wasn't for the struggle for black equality. The illusion of justice for Black equality is the social equality and the tyranny that still continues today. African Americans may be equal on paper, but are not even close when it comes to the mindset in others. As Americans, we are all responsible for creating and continuing to use the illusion of justice throughout American history, because Americans are hypocritical in regards to freedom to one but not the other.